The Discovery Kai Chen pressed his eye against the modified telescope eyepiece, adjusting the focus with practiced fingers. The lunar colony's observation dome offered the perfect view of deep space, away from Earth's atmospheric interference. At 14, most kids his age were playing virtual reality games or chatting with friends on Mars colonies. Kai preferred the real universe. "Still out there, Kai?" His mother's voice echoed from the dome's entrance. Dr. Sarah Chen, chief engineer of Lunar Colony's terraforming project, looked tired after another 16-hour shift. "Just finishing up, Mum." Kai didn't look away from his scope. "The Andromeda galaxy is particularly clear tonight." Sarah smiled. Her son had inherited her methodical nature, but applied it to astronomy instead of engineering. She worried sometimes that he spent too much time alone with the stars. "Don't stay up too late. You have classes tomorrow." After his mother left, Kai returned to his observations. He was tracking a comet's trajectory when something unusual caught his attention. 3 points of light moved in perfect formation, too precise to be natural objects. Meteors didn't fly in triangular patterns. Kai quickly switched to his camera. Attachment, a device he'd built from spare parts and outdated colony equipment. The objects were barely visible, dark against the star field, detectable only by the way they blocked background light. He increased magnification and began recording. "What are you?" he whispered. The formation changed direction in a coordinated turn that defied physics as Kai understood it. No human spacecraft could maneuver like that. These craft showed no exhaust, plumes, no energy signatures his instruments could detect. They moved like fish swimming through water, not machines fighting gravity and inertia. Kai's hands trembled as he adjusted settings. He needed better documentation. Over the past 6 months, he'd been upgrading his equipment piece by piece. Trading, programming helped to maintenance crews for discarded components. His telescope now rivaled the colony's official observation equipment. The mysterious craft continued, their pattern following what seemed like a search grid. They were studying something, scanning systematically across sectors of space. But what were they looking for? Kai spent the next hour tracking their movement. The craft covered enormous distances in minutes, jumping between observation points with impossible speed. Yet they maintained their formation perfectly, suggesting either advanced AI coordination or multiple pilots working in perfect harmony. His datapad chimed with an incoming message. "Kai, lights out." Now, his mother's stern tone brooked no argument. Reluctantly, Kai packed his equipment, but first he uploaded the evening's recordings to his personal files. Tomorrow, he would analyze everything properly. The next morning brought routine classes and colony duties, but Kai's mind remained fixed on his discovery. During his lunch break, he found a quiet corner in the colony's computer lab and began examining his recordings frame by frame. The craft were definitely artificial. Their movements showed purpose and intelligence. More importantly, Kai noticed they were focusing their attention on areas of space where human colonies existed. Lunar colony, Mars settlements, the asteroid mining stations, all fell within their search patterns. "They're watching us," Kai realized aloud. Who's watching what? Riley Martinez, his only close friend, looked over his shoulder at the screen. Kai hesitated. Riley was trustworthy, but this discovery felt too important to share casually. "Just working on a project about stellar navigation," he lied. Riley shrugged and returned to her own homework. Kai felt guilty for the deception, but something told him to keep this secret for now. That evening, Kai returned to the observation dome with improved recording equipment. He'd spent the afternoon modifying a higher-resolution camera with infrared filters. If these craft were using heat-based propulsion, he might detect their energy signatures. The wait stretched on for hours. Kai began to wonder if the previous night had been a one-time event. Maybe the craft had moved on to other sectors. Then they appeared. Not 3 this time, but 7. They moved in a more complex formation, covering a wider area. Kai's enhanced equipment immediately picked up subtle heat signatures and electromagnetic disturbances. The craft were definitely using advanced technology, but it operated on principles beyond current human understanding. Kai tracked them for 3 hours, documenting their search patterns and recording everything. The craft seemed methodical, almost scientific in their approach. They weren't behaving like military scouts or raiders. Their movement suggested careful study rather than preparation for attack. One craft broke from the formation and moved closer to lunar colony. Kai's breath caught as it approached within a few thousand kilometers of their position. At this range, his telescope could make out actual structure. The vessel was roughly cylindrical, about 200 meters long, with a smooth hull that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No visible weapons or aggressive modifications. It looked more like a research vessel than a warship. Kai zoomed in further and gasped. Along the craft's hull, he could see what looked like sensor arrays and observation equipment. These aliens were scientists, just like his mother. They were studying humanity the same way humans studied distant galaxies and new worlds. The craft lingered near lunar colony for nearly an hour, scanning with various instruments. Kai recorded everything, his excitement growing with each passing minute. This was first contact, and he was witnessing it alone in an observation dome. Then something unexpected happened. The craft's scanning pattern changed. Instead of continuing its systematic survey, it began moving in a different configuration. It was moving as if it had detected something. Kai's stomach dropped as he realized the truth. The craft was scanning for the source of observation. It had detected his telescope's electronic signature. "They know I'm watching them," he whispered. Alien vessel turned directly toward lunar colony, toward the observation dome. Kai could feel invisible sensors examining him across the vacuum of space. He was no longer the observer. He had become the observed. Fear mixed with excitement as Kai continued recording. The craft held position for several minutes, as if deciding what to do about this unexpected development. Then it transmitted something, a brief energy pulse that made Kai's equipment buzz with interference. When the static cleared, the craft was gone. All 7 vessels had vanished as if they had never existed. Kai sat back, his heart pounding. He had documented proof of alien intelligence, evidence that humanity was being studied by advanced beings. But he also knew that these beings now knew about him. The question was, what would they do with that knowledge? As Kai packed his equipment for the night, he made a decision. Tomorrow, he would continue his observations. If these aliens were scientists, like he believed, maybe there was a way to communicate. Maybe this was humanity's chance for peaceful first contact. But first, he needed to prepare. If he was going to make contact with an alien intelligence, he wanted to represent humanity well. Kai spent the rest of the night planning, his mind racing with possibilities. Outside the dome, invisible to human sensors, 3 small craft maintained a distant watch on the colony. Their occupants had detected the young humans' observations and faced their own decision. After decades of careful study, First contact was no longer a distant possibility. It was happening now, initiated by the curiosity of a 14-year-old boy who refused to look away from the stars. The revelation Kai barely slept that night. His mind buzzed with plans and possibilities. When morning came, he could hardly focus on his regular classes. During every break, he refined his equipment setup and researched everything he could about extraterrestrial communication protocols. The colony's database contained theoretical papers about first contact scenarios, mathematical languages, and universal concepts that any intelligent species might understand. Kai absorbed it all, preparing for what might be humanity's most important conversation. That evening, he returned to the observation dome with more than just recording equipment. He'd built a simple transmission device using colony communication parts. If the aliens returned, he would try to establish contact using prime numbers and basic mathematical sequences. The wait was shorter this time. As soon as full darkness settled over Lunar Colony, the alien craft appeared. Not 7 now, but 12. They arranged themselves in a perfect dodecagon formation around Lunar Colony, maintaining equal distances from each other and the human settlement. Kai's pulse quickened. This was clearly a deliberate display, a demonstration of their coordination and technology. They were showing him they were organized, intelligent, and numerous. One craft detached from the formation and approached the observation dome. As it drew near, Kai could see it more clearly than ever before. The vessel's hull showed intricate patterns that suggested both artistic sensibility and functional design. These beings valued beauty alongside efficiency. Kai activated his transmission device and began broadcasting a simple sequence. The first 10 prime numbers, repeated 3 times. Then he waited. The response came immediately. The alien craft transmitted back the next 10 prime numbers in the sequence. Kai laughed with excitement and relief. They understood mathematical concepts, and they wanted to communicate. For the next hour, Kai and the alien vessel exchanged increasingly complex mathematical dialogues. They moved from prime numbers to geometric ratios, from physical constants to orbital mechanics. Each exchange proved that both species understood universal mathematical principles. Then the aliens transmitted something different, not numbers, but a visual pattern. Kai's equipment interpreted it as a 3-dimensional representation of the solar system, accurate down to planetary positions and asteroid belts. But there were additions to the map, small markers indicating human colonies and settlements throughout the system. The message was clear. We know where you live, and we've been watching for a long time. Kai transmitted back an acknowledgement, then sent his own message, a simple representation of human population growth over the past century, showing how quickly humanity had expanded across the solar system. The alien response made Kai's jaw drop. They transmitted a star map showing hundreds of systems, with markers indicating intelligent civilizations. Earth's sun was just one small point among many, and humanity was apparently one of many species these aliens had encountered. Then came the most remarkable transmission yet. The aliens sent a detailed scan of Kai himself, showing they could detect his biology, his age, even his emotional state. They knew they were communicating with a young human, not an official representative of his species. But instead of dismissing him, they continued the conversation. They seemed curious about his perspective as a young member of humanity. Kai made a bold decision. He transmitted a question using symbolic logic. Why are you watching us? The answer came in the form of a complex data package. Kai's equipment took several minutes to process the information, but gradually a picture emerged. The aliens showed him images of other species they had studied, some that had developed peacefully and joined a galactic community, others that had destroyed themselves through war and environmental devastation. Humanity was being evaluated. The aliens were determining whether humans were ready for contact with the broader galactic civilization. The transmission continued, showing Kai images of the evaluation criteria. Technological development was important, but not as crucial as social development. The aliens were looking for species that could cooperate, solve problems creatively, and treat other intelligences with respect rather than hostility. Kai realized he was essentially taking a test on behalf of his entire species. The weight of responsibility should have been terrifying, but instead it felt inspiring. This was his chance to show what humanity was capable of. Over the next several hours, the aliens presented Kai with a series of challenges. They showed him complex engineering problems and asked for solutions. They presented ethical dilemmas and wanted to understand human moral reasoning. They described resource scarcity, scenarios, and observed how he would propose to handle them. Kai approached each challenge with the same methodical thinking his mother had taught him for engineering problems. But he also drew on his knowledge of history, literature, and human psychology. He showed the aliens that humans could think both logically and creatively, that they could consider both practical needs and moral implications. When the aliens presented a scenario about two species competing for the same resources, Kai surprised them by proposing a solution neither species had considered: cooperation and resource sharing that would benefit both groups more than competition could benefit either alone. When they showed him a technological challenge about faster-than-light communication, Kai admitted humans hadn't solved that problem yet, but described the innovative approaches human scientists were exploring. He emphasized humanity's willingness to learn and adapt. Most importantly, when the aliens tested his response to the discovery of their existence, Kai demonstrated curiosity rather than fear, wonder rather than aggression. He wanted to learn about them, not conquer or exploit them. As the night wore on, Kai sensed the aliens' evaluation shifting. Their transmissions became less formal, more conversational. They began sharing information about their own species and their role in the galactic community. They were explorers and facilitators, helping younger species develop and eventually join the broader galactic civilization when they were ready. Finally, as dawn approached over Lunar Colony, the aliens transmitted their conclusion. The message came in the form of coordinates, the location of a nearby star system where their main research station was located. They were inviting further contact, but they wanted Kai to make the choice about how to proceed. They could continue secret communications, allowing humanity to develop naturally until they were truly ready for open contact. Or Kai could share his discovery with human authorities, potentially accelerating first contact, but also risking the political and social upheaval that might follow. The decision was his to make. Kai stared at the coordinates, understanding the magnitude of the choice before him. These aliens had trusted him with information that could change the course of human history. They had evaluated him as a representative of his species and found humanity worthy of eventual contact. But they were leaving the timing up to him. As the alien craft began to withdraw to their observation positions, Kai made his choice. He transmitted a final message, a request for continued secret communications, along with a promise to help prepare humanity for eventual open contact. The aliens' response was a burst of complex harmonics that Kai's equipment interpreted as something like approval or gratitude. Over the following months, Kai continued his secret communications with the alien observers. They taught him about the galactic community, about the challenges and opportunities that awaited humanity among the stars. In return, Kai shared his observations about human nature, creativity, and potential. The aliens learned that humans were remarkably adaptable and innovative, capable of surprising solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Kai learned that the universe was full of intelligent life, much of it peaceful and cooperative, waiting to welcome humanity when they were ready. When Kai finally graduated from Lunar Colony's educational program, he had already been accepted to the most prestigious xenobiology program on Mars. His application essay about the theoretical possibilities of first contact impressed the admissions committee, though they never suspected he was writing from personal experience. Years later, when humanity finally achieved faster-than-light communication and detected the first official signals from the galactic community, Kai was among the first scientists called upon to help establish formal diplomatic contact. The aliens he had first encountered as a curious 14-year-old were there to greet him, ready to welcome humanity into the larger community they had been quietly preparing to join for decades. But that's a story for another time. For now, Kai continued his watch from the Lunar Colony Observation Dome, a bridge between two civilizations, proof that sometimes the most important discoveries come from the simple act of looking up at the stars and wondering what might be looking back.